For those of you following us on the internet, today is the 24th day of February, 2010, and we're joined, as we are each week, by our special guest, Bob Chapman of the International Forecaster. If you have questions for Bob, please feel free to give us a call at 940-825-1041 or 940-825-1042, or you can email your questions to sovereign.economist@gmail.com. That's sovereign.economist@gmail.com. And Bob, welcome back to the Sovereign Economist. Thanks for being here. Bob, how are you doing today?
Well, pretty good. Had a little power problem, but we're back on the air.
Good. Well, I'm glad you were able to rejoin us. Hopefully, the power will stay on for an hour, and we can get this show out of the way. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and everybody delights and appreciates your insight and the clarity that you bring to what's going on in our world's economic and financial situation. Bob, tell us what is the hottest thing on your radar screen right now. You were talking a little bit when we first came on today about the situation with Citibank. Tell us about what it means when Citibank says that they are getting ready to require 7-day notice for withdrawals. Are they trying to preclude bank runs, or are they trying to start one by letting it slip that there's a cash problem?
Well, it's obviously a cash problem, and they didn't slip. It was deliberate, and I don't think that they intend to use this facility of depriving people of their assets immediately. I think it'll be used, and I think other banks will join them, major banks, probably about 15 of them or more. And I think what's going to happen is that when, as I described on the program last week, that there's a multilateral meeting where there's revaluation, devaluation, multinational, country to country, debt default matchups, if you may, the attempt to form a new international trading unit, you might call it currency. And I think when that happens, that's when that's going to snap in, and I think that will happen anytime between October and the end of next year. And if it does happen, then there will be trouble getting money. And so, first of all of you people listening should not have no accounts at Citigroup, Citibank. Any other bank that does the same thing, you don't want to have anything to do with. If you get checks from vendors into your company or checks from anywhere, you immediately go to their bank and deposit it or cash it.
Actually, cash
Better, you should cash it. It's their check. And only keep 3 months operating expenses in any bank, and for business is 6 months because you have to have a cash flow to function. And you should be moving your money out of Citibank to other medium and small-sized banks. And you can check in these banks. We have a whole bunch of sources that you can go to find out the credibility of banks. But if you ask banks, they will tell you what their situation is. And so the ability to find out what kind of condition a bank is in is not difficult. But you got to move, because they're going to freeze your funds sooner or later. It's just like this business with the new proposal, of which we don't know what form it's going to take yet, but of the proposal for the government to issue guaranteed annuities in relation to either a new tax and your present retirement. And the minute they go ahead with that, you've got to pull all the retirement you can out. And the general public's not going to do that because they don't know what you know. And so, yes, there'll be taxes. You're going to have to pay them anyway. Yes, there'll be a penalty for those of you under 59 and a half. Better you should pay a penalty. Better you should pay 30% in taxes and penalty than have nothing at all. Because that's where this is headed.
Because if you wait 3 or 4 months, you'll lose more than that 30% in taxes and penalties just on the devaluation of the money in the account to begin with.
Yeah, but you've got to wait to see what they're going to do because they may do nothing. So we can't spoil things because we think. We've got essentially inside information. I mean, believe me, Ralph, there's very few people talking about this. They're scared to death.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think there's probably, that I know of, maybe 10 talk radio stations and maybe 10 newsletter writers, and the rest of the world doesn't know anything.
You know, it's funny, you don't see it even in the blogosphere and in the financial press on the internet. Interesting.
They're afraid. They're afraid, Ralph. They're afraid. They don't have the guts that you and I have to face the government down head to head.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is that, you know, when you look at it, isn't the comment period? They were going to have a 30-day comment period on that.
It was over last week.
Is that just about over right about now?
Last week.
Ah, okay.
So it'll take them 3 months, maybe as long as 6 months, to come up with their formula. But then again, they may not bring it forward. The Democratic Party, in every sitting, member of the House and member of the Senate, is in deep trouble. The survey put out by Rasmussen last week said 92% of those polled will not send back to Congress their congressman or senator. Now that is astounding. That's how mad people are.
That's an absolute, that's an absolute turnabout, Bob. If you'll remember, it always used to be that Congress was terrible and they never got anything done and they never listened to us and they never did anything, but our congressman's a pretty good guy. So the fact that even 92% of the people in their own districts are wanting to turn him out is phenomenal indeed. But to me, that's just kind of a sign of the times.
Well, it gives us a window of opportunity. It's the only window left to the American people beside a possible sovereign movement. And if we can't get all these new people into Congress and in the Senate, it's over. If we can get them in, we get a shot. And I know exactly what to do and how to do it. And do it before these new people get paid off. You're going to be running again in 2 years. You do what we want you to do, and here's $1 million. And all of a sudden they get 50 firms who have done that, and here they have $50 million, and they know they can win the election with $10 million. They get to keep the $40 million. No taxes. So we've got to get to them before these evil people get to them. I mean, that's why we've got the problem we've got. It's all in the system of financing elections. And what you have to do is limit campaigning to 2 months before the election, which means you have to campaign on the issues. And secondly, you have to limit what they can have to run for office. And I think that the best way to do that is have the federal government, in behalf of the American taxpayer, pay for that money to be given to these people who are running. So you have primaries, and they have to be restricted with X amount of dollars, let's say $500,000 per person, and they get that from Congress. If there's 3 people running, well, cost Congress $1.5 million or the American people, and they have a final, and let's say they get $1 million for that. This is hypothetical. And that's what they get, and that's the end of it. And if they don't spend it all, they got to give it back, and they have to account for every penny.
Well, you know, Bob, it's interesting because all of that's really great. In order to make any of that happen, we've got to get Congress literally replaced, and I know there's a lot of movements out there called Kick Them All Out and what have you, to basically refresh the tree of liberty with new Congress people and new senators in 2010. But Bob, you've been putting out a postulation of the possibility that we may not get to the 2010 elections. Talk a little bit about what your theory is on that. I know you've expounded on it in the International Forecaster, and we touched on it a little bit here last week.